G'day guys, if you want to increase the height of your Cobra bag, reduce the footprint of the base and improve the rigidity, consider making a thicker, smaller base. Let me explain. I wanted to see how the Cobra bag would perform and if there were any advantages of making a baseboard that is smaller in size but thicker or taller. This smaller and taller base that I've made here actually exceeded all my expectations. Let me take you through all the key advantages and performance enhancements. Now the first and obvious advantage is that you can extend it to quite a high level, and that's great for taller people. Check out the reach on this thing, and that's another great advantage. But the biggest advantage for me, and I'm 6 foot, is the increased rigidity of the base, and there are two key reasons for that. The first is that this base actually weighs a lot more. It actually weighs about 40 pounds. So together with the sandbags, it makes for quite a substantial weight at the bottom. The second reason is that the bottom click bar actually slides further down into the click mast, so the top two holes are not being used by me, which gives the bottom area a lot more rigidity. As you can see, there's hardly any movement down at the bottom here. And the third key advantage is the small footprint. So I can get really close to the Cobra bag as I'm punching it, and that's compared to the 1.5 inch thick baseboard and a lighter baseboard over there that actually requires a bigger surface area for stability. This one, it does with the weight what the other one does with the surface area. Alright, so let me show you what's involved in making this. And what this is basically is a whole bunch of MDF boards stuck together. In fact, I've got 8 boards here. I've gone down to the local hardware store and I bought 4 long, was 3 feet by 1.5 feet size boards. These are about 1/2 inch, just over 1/2 inch in thickness. And the guys at Bunnings, the hardware store, they've cut them in half for me, so I ended up with 8 pieces. And I've just rounded the edges and put in a handle. Basically cut out in 2, 3, I think 4 of these. I've cut out this space so I can lift it up. Now this thing weighs 40 pounds, so it's similar to a 44-pound weights at the back there, the Olympic weights. And that gives it improved stability. That gives it nice and nice rigidity for your base. So when you put your mast in and you lock it in place, it's nice and rigid. If you're setting it up for your kids without the mast and bottom click bar, you can plug the spring directly into the base. Well, you might not even need any sandbags. You can just let your kids use that. It may bounce around if it's hit hard, and then you might consider putting extra weights like sandbags on top. But you've got a nice height range for taller kids and also shorter kids. Now if you want to optimize the performance of the Cobra bag even further, consider setting up a second deck. Now you just need another baseboard, and you've got to cut out a hole in the middle to match the diameter of the mast, and then you slip that on and put another pair of sandbags on top, and that is going to give you unparalleled rigidity for your mast. So your mast is just locked in, solid in there. And you can also use Olympic weights instead of these sandbags. So if you wanted to, instead of that second deck, or for the second deck, you can use an Olympic weight plate or 2. If you are going to be using Olympic weights, make sure you wrap some duct tape around the mast to bridge the gap between the diameter of the mast and the inner diameter of the hole in the Olympic weight. So when you put the Olympic weight on, it'll actually sit flush against the tape. You want that tape to be holding it in place, so they'll give your mast extra rigidity. And if you use 2 Olympic weights, well, you're only going to make this whole thing a lot more rigid. Now that is just rock solid. That feels good. Nice and solid down the bottom.